Hello, welcome to Pure Soul Alchemy with Gabriella. I'm Gabriella Espinosa, and I'll be taking us through a psychic surgery treatment for the next 20 minutes or so. Even though this is a video session, I highly recommend that you lay down and close your eyes during the duration. Pure Soul Alchemy is a transmission of channeled shamanic operations through my perceptions and vocalization of the inner energetic grid. We are open in ways which allow these technologies to come into our physical reality and enact change on our behalf. Allow your mind to relax into the words and phrases that are coming through without focusing too much on interpretation. Notice any attempts by your mind to hold on to them and just let them go. It's quite helpful to replay this session repeatedly and often to deepen its healing effects and take your healing further. And if you find this session helpful, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe and little bell. So then you'll be alerted about new sessions as they come up. So this show is a shamanic healing session to assist you in starting projects. There are many things that get in the way of putting ideas into action. And it sometimes seems like any attempt to start anything new or get a project started gets thwarted by unseen forces. In this session, we will address that which gets in the way of starting something which is good for you in order to begin moving in a new direction. So before listening to the session, be sure to bring to mind any projects or goals that you've been longing to start. And we will focus on these during our session. So now, take a deep breath and begin slowing your mind, slowing your body, and begin feeling into your body. Notice where you're carrying any tension, unease, or numbness. And just bring your focus there. Bring your focus, breath, and attention to these areas. And allow this deep breathing and noticing, physical body noticing, to continue throughout our session. So we're going to begin. Connecting with our divine physical and non-physical intelligence to align completely with our own core essence. Aligning with the fundamental and essential aspects of ourselves. Aligning with the earth, the sun, the moon, with our own Mother, Father, God, Self, with our own inherent Creator Self, and a right placement in the universe. The purest healing source within us is our own deepest aspect. We agree to serve as our own healing agent and to serve from and as our own ultimate inner counsel, the all that I am. We now invoke, welcome, and receive our beloved Mother and Father God to exact their loving, divine, blessed grace directly into our healing proceedings today. Right, so we're going to begin with healing point number 1. This is around the topic of intimidation. Anytime you contemplate or even think about contemplating beginning a project that lights you up, this can happen right before the get-go. This is intimidation. This feeling of intimidation, feeling intimidated by perhaps the stark contrast in our inspired vision, goal, what we'd like to do, and what we have right now. And the bigger the contrast, sometimes the bigger intimidation that we feel or go into kind of hijacks our being, our brain. So as I'm naming these things, we're already working on them. All right, so something about population standards or standards held by the general population that we assume are our own standards. Really, they just get in the way of everything. They have nothing to do with our creation process. So we want to begin a very warm, gentle, steady process for unhooking, untethering from those. Great. So warm, full-bodied recalibration, reconnection. Part of this is manifests in a kind of a little bit of going into shock and leaving our body, kind of like a distraction mechanism from the fear, terror, the intimidation. So healing any shock, any shutting down, any paralysis. One of the things I see a lot is that the way this can manifest is apathy. It can feel like we're apathetic, but also distraction. Like, oh, what's that over there? Oh, I need to clean my house. And just anything to get away from the intimidation, paralysis, shock, shutting down that can happen. Right. So any way in which our system, our mind, our body, our heart is affected, is reactive, is distracted. Because really, when we have an inspiration to do a project or achieve a goal or anything like that, it's really just spirit is coming by and, tapping us on the shoulder. Hey, here's something cool you can do. Here's something fun and cool and exciting. That your heart of hearts would like to engage in. Great. So we want to do a clearing of the kind of like the interpretation that can happen, like just feeling like our mind will make it into some big mountain, something much bigger, and make it into a competition or an indicator of my success or failure, or can just make all kinds of stories about. It's just a simple inspiration and tap on the shoulder by spirit saying, here's a cool thing you can engage in, that your mind-body system wants to engage in collaboration with spirit. So we want to begin dislodging this pattern of going into seeing it as an enormity, much huger, making it into the mountain and the molehill thing, making it into a big mountain that most of us do. Great. So that goes leads into healing point number 2, defeatism. Working on the frequency of defeatism. So feeling defeatism before we even get started. because of a lot of the things that we already worked on in Healing Point 1. So feeling defeated, feeling like I've failed before I even begun because of all the stories that my mind made up. So when our vision or goal may seem incomprehensible to our current state of being, oh, there's no way I can succeed at that. You know, turning it in. So our mind does this little twisty thing where it turns it into a whole thing about success or failure. And really that has nothing to do with starting this project. It's just a project, and there will be many more. So we really want to bring in the reality of what it is and neutralize any projections, magnifications, and that piece about making it into an indicator of whether I'm a success or a failure. Great. So it feels like we're getting some movement there. That's really good. Again, that's a totally has nothing to do with the project, whether I succeed or fail, or whether this is an indicator of whether I'm a winner or a loser. Totally irrelevant. And it just takes us out of our flow. Right? So really assisting our system to awaken to this understanding. Healing low self-confidence. Healing any disbelief that it is something we are capable of accomplishing. Rather than seeing it as I can do it, it's something that is happening. Low self-confidence, disbelief in our capacity, optimizing for new movement coming through, big opening and expanding of our individual space. So this incomprehension or inability to even conceive of successfully attaining our vision can turn into feeling defeat before we even begin. And then giving up without even having tried. Because in our mind's eye and the story we've created in our mind, we've already failed. So really deconstructing this phenomenon and healing the scars of past limitation and perceptions of limitation, opening and expanding divine ownership, new union with divine spirit. Healing point number 3, small doable steps. So breaking down our view of or perception of our creation process into small doable steps. It's like, yes, we have the end result that we would like to happen, but really awakening our capacity to focus on the details. And not too many details at a time. Because once again, that can lead to overwhelm and then defeatism before we even begin. Great. So really opening and expanding our capacity to hone in on the details, the small doable steps, in each moment, in the moment, particularly the one that lights us up at that moment in time. Opening our capacity to hone in on and pay attention to the individual stages of progress while minding the overall big picture scheme. It's a delicate dance, but a fun dance. Great. And so we want to do, what's coming is we want to expand our capacity to embrace frustration or feeling like we're not making progress, because that's part of the process. You're going to feel that way. So embracing the more challenging emotions that are part of the process. And we want to reframe our thinking to perceive them as an indicator of that we are making progress. So advancing our capacity to think in small, doable steps, to embrace the individual stages of the development of our goal, vision, or project. Great, so we're really expanding into the don't sweat the big stuff. I mean, don't sweat the small stuff, but, pay attention to the small stuff without getting overwhelmed by the big picture and all the small stuff that goes into the big picture. Great. So we really want to open and expand into the joy of this question that we can ask ourselves throughout any part of a creating of a project or something. And the question is, what can I accomplish right now toward my goal? What is one thing I can accomplish right now in my project? Great. So we're really expanding into the joy of asking ourselves that question and repeatedly. All right. And so what's coming up around there is some powerlessness, sense of personal disempowerment. So we're just going to hang there and clear on that. Healing point number 4, allowing the picture of what we want to bring forth to have the flexibility to change along the way. What happens when we start to begin to contemplate, to even consider starting a project, is that we go into this rigid picture of the desired outcome. And so even before we get started, we want that picture to be flexible, open to morphing into something better, something different, something that's more in alignment with our heart and in alignment with following the dance of the creation process, the rhythm of creation. All right, there's a lot of throat clearing on that. Optimizing new sense of refreshment. Optimizing change of direction, potential capacity, and being agreeable to that. Relaxing any rigidity, conceptualizations. Dislodging any programs of difficulty in allowing a change of course. And disengaging from these programs. Healing point number 5, identifying your needs. This is well in advance before you even start. Identifying your needs and any type of support that will help you to take appropriate measures on behalf of your project goal or on behalf of yourself taking on and starting this project or goal. And really picturing yourself opening and receiving this support. Some creative visualization goes a long way with this too. You can picture people, organizations, even people who are close to you, supporting you, people who love you and want you to be happy and succeed and be fulfilled. And this could be higher guides, guardian spirits. This could be your mom or dad, or stepmom or stepdad, friends. Yeah, so really connecting to your network of all the people who love and support you. Those that you know, those that you don't know, those that are in higher realms as well. Visualizing yourself being wide open to receive this support throughout each stage of your project. Great. We want to do a clearing of fear of letting them down, fear of letting these people down. And any other thing that might get in the support of fully 100% receiving this support. Opening, expanding to knowing that you fully deserve this support, this help, this cheering squad. And really driving this awareness all the way deep into our hearts. Great, so we're bringing our session to a close. Thank you so much for tuning in to Pure Soul Alchemy. If you find this session helpful, please click the like and subscribe and bell icons so then you can be alerted about new and future sessions. I highly recommend that you listen to the session repeatedly, and because this will deepen the effects of the session and take your healing further. To schedule an individual one-on-one appointment or to get more information, visit www.puresoulalchemy.com. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.